in this job, and women in general standing into these positions.
Oh, hell. Put this heifer in prison. Slam a yard, slam the door, turn the lights off. I tell you just can't make this up. A woman, and just remember, I'm also a black woman. Oh, hell.
Threaten me is a waste of time. It's a complete waste of their time. And it's not going to get anyone results. One thing that people learn about me is I'm equal opportunity prosecutor.
Disaster with a boyfriend. The boyfriend that you paid $1 billion for his expertise, but he never did it before. Now she should be prosecuted.
So if you come into this community and you violate the law, you're going to be held accountable.
Another big story involving a recent Georgia Supreme Court decision in which the state's highest court voted 4-3 not to hear the DA's office's appeal of a lower court's effective removal of Ms. Willis in her office as prosecutors in the election interference.
We are living in a culture of fear. I think you have both prosecutors, citizens, and even judges that are afraid right now.
Oh, this heifer is guilty. This heifer is guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
For good reason.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, what's going on, family? Y'all know I'm gonna come on here and keep it real, man. Tell you, this heifer here, guilty, fraud, corrupt, scammer. You know, I tell you, this big heifer here, they should have been walked out and been made an example out of her. I ain't lying to you. You know, I don't know why she's still in office. I'm just, you know, Nathan Wade apple pie. You know, they probably still, you know, sleeping around, got the Netflix on and pulling out the, I'm not even going to say it. They say, Rick, sir, please keep it clean, sir. Please keep it clean, Rick. A disgrace. But I'm reading some of these comments, though, before we get into this, because I want to send a huge shout out to Miss Rachel once again for sending this over for me to check out. And it's about Fani Willis. Oh, Fani. Wade got paid. Fani got paid. Taxpayers got played. The fact that Fani Willis hasn't been removed from office is what's wrong with this country. Her office is a disaster, and she's beyond corrupt. And I'm telling you, I've been calling for the whole Fulton County to be completely investigated. You know, down there in Fulton County, an absolute disgrace, man. You know, and we reported on and covered some sick things that are going on down there. You know, remember that father and his son? I mean, it was just a disgrace. But this says this was purely political. Trump should be able to sue her for legal expenses and damages. She should be disbarred for malpractice. She should not tolerate this. We should not tolerate this type of behavior. From start to finish, it shows our justice system is a fucking joke. Fani not in prison? What the? I'll tell you. Until arrests are made, it's all theater. Oh boy. You just can't make this up. Boy, Ozempic is out here changing people's lives. Laughing emoji, right, Fani. Another DEI hire that should not be in the position she is in. It's sad how much time and money has been devoted to trying and arrest corrupt DEI public officials. Come on. Let's go and get into this though, man.
Is reacting to a Georgia Supreme Court's decision that effectively keeps her off the election interference case against President Donald Trump and others. New at 6, Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Whitty live now in downtown Atlanta. So Mark, the DA referred to a culture of fear.
Yeah, the explanation of what first the trial court judge and then the Georgia Court of Appeals and finally the Supreme Court of Georgia did concerning the election interference case could get mired down in technical legal details. But I think it's fair to say that what DA Fani Willis told us did not get bogged down in technicalities.
What's your reaction to what the Georgia Supreme Court did or elected not to do?
I think judges are human beings. We are living in a culture of fear. It did not surprise me.
Our appointment for an interview with Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis involved a story we're pursuing about a recent murder conviction. But she says while we were there, she was willing to talk to us about another big story involving a recent Georgia Supreme Court decision in which the state's highest court voted 4-3 not to hear the DA's office's appeal of a lower court's effective removal of Ms. Willis in her office as prosecutors in the election interference case in which now President Donald Trump and others have pled not guilty.
So, y'all, a trial court, that's the lowest level of court, they took Fani off the case. The appeals court reviewed the trial court's decision and agreed. So you have two courts saying, Fani, in this Trump RICO case, because you decided to both pay an outside prosecutor to help and then have an intimate relationship with him where he's giving you gifts and
y'all know we covered all this, man. They probably laid up right now. But I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to try to keep it clean, family. I'm going to try to keep it clean, man. But we've exposed the corruption in broad daylight. You know. And these people show you who they are every single time. They own the police footages, the dash cam footages. You know. It's a disgrace, man.
And taking you on trips and buying you things. Well, the money that you paid him, we don't know for sure that he's not circling that same money back around to take you on a trip. So it looks bad. So we're removing you. Okay. Any person in the universe could understand how that looks bad. Was it actually bad? Was he actually paying for Fani to go on the trip with the same money that she paid him out of the public money to prosecute Trump? Who knows? We don't know, but it looks bad. So we just can't, you can't go forward, Fani. You couldn't keep it in your pants. It's your fault. Right? But Fani says, no, it's not my fault. It's y'all are scared of Trump. Y'all, you can't make this stuff. I might have to say that a few more times, y'all. You can't make this stuff.
Can't make it
DA
up.
Willis says she believes the executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, who bears the responsibility of trying to find another prosecutor to take over the election interference case or to keep it for PAC, has a tough job.
The reality is it's going to be hard to find a prosecutor that's not afraid to prosecute that case when one of the primary defendants is threatening anyone that would dare to prosecute them. Not only do they not have the resources to do the case, but there's fear-mongering going on right now.
And there aren't that many very large DA's offices in Georgia with the resources to handle something like this. And number two, politically, it's a hot potato.
Okay, so it's going to be difficult for somebody to pick up your mess because Trump is making threats. Somebody making threats does make things more difficult. So, I mean, that's true. If you don't have threats, it's easier than if you do have to. I haven't seen Trump threaten anybody personally, but who knows? I don't know. I haven't seen that. But what I will say is this. You're going to see at the end of this video, I'm going to loop it in. The last time she was removed, remember I said it's the second time she's removed from a Trump RICO related case. The first time it was one defendant. This time it's the whole case. The last time the Georgia Prosecutor Council did pick up the investigation and they decided not to move forward. That wasn't due to any threats. That was just because they said that the guy did nothing wrong. Okay? You're going to see that here shortly.
And as usual, she was not going to pull punches.
I think you have both prosecutors, citizens, and even judges that are afraid right now for good reason. And so it didn't surprise me. There's many members of that Supreme Court I'm very fond of, but they're human beings. They have families, and I'm sure they were afraid to do anything other than that.
We reached out to a public information officer for the Supreme Court of Georgia who emailed, "I cannot comment beyond what the court has already said in its written opinions about these cases."
The Supreme Court only addresses issues of greater legal importance to the entire state of Georgia. And they said this case wasn't one of those cases.
For perspective, we turn to defense lawyer and former DeKalb District Attorney Robert James.
The Supreme Court specifically did not make a finding about DA Willis's conduct.
We reached out to Steve Sadow, lawyer for President Trump. Sadow's statement said in part, quote, Willis's reaction to the Georgia Supreme Court's fundamentally correct decision, refusing to hear the case by claiming it was due to its fear of President Trump, is absolutely ludicrous, unquote. It added, quote, she brought a political prosecution against the 45th and 47th president of the U.S. who is innocent, unquote. It also said, quote, she refused to accept the odor of mendacity found by the trial court and simply expected the Georgia Court of Appeals to gloss over it, unquote. The statement concluded, quote, her disqualification was the result of what she did and for no other reason, unquote. Now, I read some of defense lawyer Steve Sadow's comments to DA Willis. She said she would not dignify it with a response. Reporting live in downtown Atlanta, Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
So, y'all, I'm going to loop in a brief report from when Fani was removed last time. So you can just see this is a pattern of activity. So you can see that she's delusional, y'all. And that's my opinion, okay? She's delusional. Or she's just, she's just not willing to publicly admit her faults. She did that day in the church, if y'all saw that. But not anymore. That was a one-time affair. So y'all just take a look at this real quick about how she was removed from the case previously.
And examples of actual conflict that I saw in your pleading were somehow the prosecutor was able to be like a defense attorney at the same, like for the guy's brother. I mean, it was these things where, what were you thinking?
It was kind of crazy. I represent one co-defendant as a defense attorney in a criminal proceeding, become DA, and then prosecute the co-defendant.
Okay.
That makes no sense, and that's not the situation we've got here. But that's the kind of extreme example of what the law recognizes as an actual conflict for a prosecuting attorney. It's, I represent. At one time, I represented the victim in a case that is now before me in the divorce proceeding against the defendant in the case. It's that kind of really striking in your face, and routine political support for a political ally. It doesn't make it there. It doesn't go that far.
But routine, I would interpret as Mr. Wade strokes a check for a candidate he wants to support. Using the title of your office and having on social media that you as this political office holder are holding a fundraiser for the opponent of someone that this political office is investigating. I don't know that it's an actual conflict, but I use that phrase, what were you thinking? Where the prosecutor thought I could prosecute the co-defendant of someone I defended. It's a what are you thinking moment. The optics are horrific. If you are trying to have the public believe that this is a nonpartisan, driven by the facts, and I'm not here to critique decisions, the decision was made, but if we are trying to maintain confidence that this investigation is pursuing facts in a nonpartisan sense, doesn't matter who the district attorney is, we follow the evidence where it goes and ignore the fact that I hosted a fundraiser for the political opponent of someone I've just named a target. That strikes me as problematic, maybe not from an actual conflict level, but if we are at a cocktail party and people are asking, do you think that this is a fair and balanced approach to things? I do. Well, how do you explain this? How does one explain? I mean, that's the concern I'm working through, is that it's not a lowercase a appearance. It's like a capital A with flashy lights, fundraiser, district attorney for the political opponent of someone I've named the target of my investigation, where I'm the legal advisor to the grand jury, and I'm on national media almost nightly talking about this investigation. That's problematic.
Okay. Not accepting the entirety of the court's characterization of the series of events. I'm going to respond to that a couple of ways. First, still not a legal conflict. Still not anything within the court's discretion to remedy in the way that Mr. Dillon has advocated on behalf of Senator Jones. So as a legal matter, everybody can talk at cocktail parties all they want and watch the cable news station of their choosing. But no matter what, it still doesn't amount to a legal conflict under Georgia law. Second, I want to direct the court's attention to that.
So there you saw what happened in court. The lady is arguing on behalf of Fani. Fani was not there representing herself. She had this attorney representing her. And the attorney's arguing, hey, there's the appearance of impropriety. Literally, this is the same thing she's disqualified for now. Okay. This happened a couple of years ago, too. There might be the appearance of impropriety, but but that shouldn't matter. Court said, yeah, it does matter. Fani, you're off the case.
A special prosecutor has determined there will be no charges for Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones in the 2020 election interference case.
That's right. The director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, Pete Skandalakis, took over the matter in April after Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis was barred from prosecuting Jones in her case.
Skandalakis says Jones acted in a manner consistent with his position and was representing his constituents' concerns when he signed an electoral college certificate falsely declaring former President Donald Trump the winner of the election in Georgia. In a statement, Jones said, in part, I have always wanted to tell my story in front of a fair and unbiased prosecutor, which Fani Willis clearly is not. I'm thankful that I finally had the opportunity to do that.
So my point here, everybody, is that, Fani's deflecting. She's trying to blame the court for her own missteps. But and what else would we expect from somebody who has the track record she has? I mean, would you expect her to own up to it and make a change in her life? Nah, that's not gonna happen. So let me know what y'all think about this, y'all.
You just can't make this up, man.